Mukundanji, if you permit, we'll start. May I?
Yes, Mr. Dixit.
Jairam?
Good to go, sir.
Great. So I'll just give a brief introduction. Sama Audit Systems and Software Private Limited is very happy to bring the second edition of Analytics Wednesday. This program was conceived as a step in spreading awareness for analytics in the country, in the region, and also to share experiences with experienced professionals like Mukundanji, who will be in a position to share their vast knowledge with all of us. Sama Audit provides solutions for analytics, continuous control monitoring, working papers for external auditors, allied consulting training services for internal auditors, risk professionals, forensic experts, and finance professionals. This series of programs are supported by Government of Canada Trade Commissioner Service. For today's topic, we have got Global Idea Analytics from India, and we have Mukundanji. Now, I'll just formally introduce Mukundanji to all of you. Mr. K.V. Mukundan is a Chief Assurance and Risk Executive with All Cargo Global Logistics Limited since 2010. He has more than 3 decades of versatile experience with manufacturing, consulting, Big Four, and service industry experience. He is a CA rank holder. He is a CPA certified public accountant from the USA, certified internal auditor, certified information systems auditor, and he was honored as Chief Minister's Fellow by Government of Madhya Pradesh for innovative suggestions in the field of accounting in the year 2002. He is the treasurer of Institute of Internal Auditors Mumbai chapter, a member of the governing council of RM Next, an informal group of risk professionals, and member of ASSOCHAM, National Council of Internal Audit and Risk Management. Currently, he oversees the assurance and risk management function for the Avashya Group, which includes All Cargo Global Logistics Limited, EQ Worldwide, Gati Limited, and various other joint ventures and subsidiaries. In addition, he is also the whistleblower officer for the group. Now, this was his formal introduction. Informally, I think this group is an Indian multinational because it's headquartered in Mumbai, I would say, though there are different entities, and the management oversees it across the world. So there are operations in a number of countries across the world. And Mukundanji's specialty is that being headquartered in India, in Bombay, he oversees the internal audit functions across the controlling and the internal audit functions across the world at different entities, different geographies. And one of the key aspects of this overall overseeing internal audit function is analytics. So with that in mind, we said, let's hear from Mukundanji how he, as a global internal auditor operating from Bombay for an Indian multinational, it's really a good achievement for all of us. So, let's hear his experience, his insights. So over to you, Mukundanji.
Thank you very much, Deepji, for the introduction. Good evening to everyone. A very warm welcome to this session. Wish each one of you a safe day. This is an exchange of learning. It is not just the speaker speaks and that is the where we will be talking about. So it is an exchange of learning where we would like to listen the views of each of every participant in the form of questions. So significant portion of the session time, we will keep it for questions and answers. Whatever I am talking today, it is a collective wisdom. That is what the aim of this session at the end of the session. And to just give you some broad pointers, whatever we are discussing here, it may be good in the environment which I have worked or I have implemented in this. There are definitely many circumstances, whatever I have worked with multiple companies. whatever I have implemented in Allcargo may not be suitable for a different environment, even where I have worked, the other companies. So you may have to tweak whatever we are discussing today, depending upon your business environment and the requirements. So whatever would have been successful in one environment may not be successful in a different environment. I am exposed to the audit software since 2005 as part when I joined one of the big four audit firm. That is the first time when I have, exposed to the audit software. Now, coming back to the background, so this is where, I am more talking about our company, where I am currently working. It is an Indian multinational company. Deepji has already introduced this. From audit point of view, we have got about 150 offices. It is spread across 60 plus countries. Actually, we are present in about 160 plus countries, but some of them are agents, and that is not to be covered under the audit. So, however, we are a global enterprise. We are covered in almost every nook and corner of any part of the world, small countries, big countries, and medium-sized countries. So, from audit point of view, the focus is mainly on, big countries and medium-sized countries. Small countries, we have presence, and there can be some audits, but not necessarily in all the small countries we are present. We have a revenue of about 1.5 billion US dollars. Traditionally, in the past, before I joined, it was outsourced. And my task was, when I joined in 2010, the current company, to set up an in-house team. So like any one of you have most of these, the audit team size structure, we started with a small size. Most of them are chartered accountants. Audit frequencies, whatever we have decided, it is not uniform across. We have audit frequency different something. This again based on the risk perception and also the risk servicing. That is as an audit servicing, I should say. How quickly you can do, how expensive to do these particular audits. That's also will come. We'll talk about later, about what I meant by expensive. The last point which I wanted to talk about is the global audits. So we are operating across the globe only from India. We don't have any regional audit offices any part of the world. So there are multiple reasons for that. And I will also talk about that once we start the discussion in that particular area. We can go to the next slide. So yeah, you are already on that slide. So this is also, I would like to tell you that how the scenario undergoes changes, and all these things, whatever I am talking about, these are the features of our company. We grow organically and inorganically. Acquisitions are something very, very routine for us. It is nothing that it is once in a while activity. So if I do an activity or an acquisition once in a year, so it means that I may do a due diligence of 3 or 4, because there are pipelines, and not necessarily all the due diligences become the acquisitions. On an average, past 10 years, I'm 10 to 11 years. So every year we have been acquiring one company on an average. So many of them are outside India and some of them are inside India. All these things gives multiple challenges. The reasons for, explaining these things, how do you do these things? The second aspect is that the turnover, though it is mentioned as doubled, at this moment in time when I am speaking to you, it is tripled. So 3 times. When I joined, it was about 500 million. Today we are 1.5 billion. In between, we had a global implementation of ERP. Now, when we have the acquisitions of the company, they operate with multiple software. Not necessary that we change all these software immediately. So all these things are also bringing the additional challenges to the audit firm, where it is not a uniform software. And in between, we tried we emphasized and we made an attempt to go for a global implementation of the ERPs. Again, it brings new challenges to so these are some of the transition what has happened. And management expectation, this is something very, very important for us, because all of us service our management. So it started as audit and it became assurance over a period of when the maturity improved. Today, it is all talking, and as part of the assurance, there was also an expectations on the value additions. Today, my management talks to me that you are a partner to the business. So management expectations have changed over the past decade with which I have worked with the current setup. Of course, this has changed all along when I started more than 3 decades ago, when I started as my internal audit career, that was also changed. And all of you might have experienced the similar thing. We can go to the next slide. So we can, one after another, we can discuss the bullet points. So first point is about the, idea of idea. So this is something, the organizational positioning of idea is very, very important. So I believe all of you, most of you are, coming from the risk assurance advisory services of the respective companies. So positioning of the idea is something very, very important, what value it can bring in. So when you are talking to their, chief CEO or CMD or chairman, whosoever you are reporting, and also the other stakeholders, the CFO, the CEO. So it is important that we position idea, what it can do, what value it is bringing. And definitely you will get multiple questions on this particular area. So you should be able to, when I have implemented these idea in the current setup. So when I talk to you earlier, I have not necessarily that I was successful so much what I have done in current organization. Previous organizations also have made an attempt. So some of these learnings I have been able to do, correct and, position it appropriately. So first and foremost, when you are presenting to your management, you have to position it correctly, the value it is being brought up for this. The second point is the team for idea analytics. You can have two options. One is that entire team members of your the audit team, they are able to, train, implement the idea. And, another way of doing this is that, yes, you may get some specialists in this area. And I will talk more about that, depending upon your questions and interest on this area. What is, I have found both systems working. We will talk more about that. And we will also have some poll questions in this particular area, so which will come at some point in time. So probably after this slide, once we complete, we will have some poll questions, to get your views as well. So the third bullet point which I would like to discuss is that the building trust with the application and the infrastructure team. So this is very, very important, that because they are the people, those who are giving you the access, idea access, if you want to have the idea access directly to your systems. So it is very important we create trust in the sense that they are responsible for the performance of IT systems, and they will have a lot of concerns. If your idea directly interact with my tables, my data, whether it can amend my data, and how will I, what are the part of the IT governance, their governance structure you are getting to, intervene or interfere or infringe upon. So these are some of the concerns. So all these things, you have to study, you have to take the help of your implementing agency, like Sama Audit, who helps you to explain all these things. If it also generally, after working with the since 2005, I was working in this particular area, and so I had all these exposure. All these things have helped me to gain the trust and also give the confidence to the IT governance setup that yes, this is something which we can do it, and these are the ways and means this can be done. The next challenge will be, there will be numerous data tables. Particularly, all these things are important for you when you are going to get direct access to the system. So it is when I talk to you about the multiple tables, many of these things you may already know, but many of you are maybe new to this system, and you may be exploring whether can we use idea. So that is where I am getting a little bit more in detail. Understanding the data structures and relationships. So this is very, very important, where you have to discuss with the functional consultant, if in an application relating to the so just to give you a brief of the business, what we are into. We are a global freight forwarders, and the relationship of our business is that, we import, we engage, we are a catalyst to a trade, global trade. And we facilitate an export trade from a country to an import trade to another country. And there are multiple agencies involved in this. There are multiple regulatory agencies involved in this particular area. So whatever my relationship of data, it is not only within the same country, it is also related with another country. So when I am exporting one container from China, say Shanghai, to say Hamburg in Germany, so it is an export from China and it is an import to Germany. So there is a relationship between these data, whatever is coming. So whatever the exports happen from one country, it is not only the relationship and trend analysis, whatever I do in that particular country, it is also applicable for the other countries where import happens. And these are the global trade lanes, where about we have about, so we call it as the trade lanes. So we have got about 2,400 pairs of trade lanes. Some of them are key, some of them are non-key, and also sort of things. So just to give you, so all these things are very, very important for you. So you may be in manufacturing, you may be in service, or you may be in any other category. So the relationship and how you can, so when subsequently you get into the problem statement and understanding how IDA can be utilized. So data tables are important, the data, how the data is captured, and how this relationship, hard to be understood from the functional consultant. Generally, they are the IT people, those who will give you which data table, what data is being stored. And if it is not readily available, you may also have a situation where this documentation is not readily available, because some of you may have a cloud sort of facilities. So these things over a period of trial and error also you will be able to understand. Otherwise, if it is in-house solution, IT solution, you will be able to understand these things, from the functional consultant in your respective. Another challenge, we had the global spread of, the various servers, our data, these are all in the various regional servers. And this is where, so again, the structure of implementation, the design of implementation, you need to think through. And if you have one single setup of a common database, it may be your business intelligence, or it may be your data warehouse. So that will be another area where you can connect directly, and it again depend upon the audit objectives. If you want a continuous control monitoring on a day-to-day basis, second by second, then you need a different strategy and different philosophy. If you want to do it more, though it is concurrently, not necessarily it can be done after a lag of a few hours. It may be 10 hours, it may be 12 hours. So you may need a different strategy on whether you need to get a mirror image of the respective production servers of the respective countries. So or it can be getting into a data warehouse where data warehouse transfers happens only after a lag of certain time. So these are the things which you may have to think through. The next point is this is another challenge when you go operate globally. So you have a time zones. So US, Canada, or Australia, it work for a different time zones. So this is something which you have to work with them. And particularly in India, when we are operating, so sometimes, so India is that way. It is not, we are not as fairly positioned as Europe, where both West and East are almost equal, but at the same time we are not that bad as well. So this also was this has, when I was working for the Big Four accounting firm, I was working for the different geographies. That has already helped me to work in these different time zones. That has also helped. And again, you may have to consider depending upon your infrastructure and the area where you would like to cover. I already talked about the idea connection, whether to a database, whether it's a production server, or it is an image server, or it may be a BI, or it may be a data warehouse. We will also have a scenario that somewhere a lot of things will be common at the same time. When you implement these procedures, you have to see that some of these processes are unique to a particular country. So some of the business process we may do, for example, customs clearance we may do in a particular country, warehouse operations we may do in a country. These are incidental and value-added services, not necessarily that I may do it in every country. So this is something, again, so not at the time of implementation, you have to take care of these things. So defining the problem statement is again, at some point in time, we were focusing only the audit side of it. Particularly when we started. At the same time, at a certain point of time, we have been required and we have been asked to work as a partner to business. So at that time, it was very, very important that you request the auditee what is your problem statement, and you need to have a little bit of coaching with the auditee. So unless and until you do this particular activity in this way, it becomes very difficult to get the objectives what they were looking for, and so that they will also feel value in the idea when you are implementing these things. So the last point before we get into the poll is that whenever you implement any of these things, to get into the perfection, definitely you will need to have a longer time horizon. So if you expect that, okay, you start with idea today, tomorrow everything can be done, because particularly when I saw some of the news or some of the marketing tools with some other firms, 30 seconds audit can be done. So marketing point of view, this may be right. And I don't have any insult to the people, those who have done or doing or capable of doing it this way. So perfection take time. It will initially, there may be pushback. You should get all these challenges also into your timetable. And this is the way in which when you set up, you talk to your the top management, your audit committee, your stakeholders. You should always build in this cushion to get into a perfection. And you don't have to be disappointing. If the initial results are bad, you can always work on this. This is the way in which some trial and error will always happen. Some of these challenges may be common for every one of you. Some of these challenges, particularly, getting the confidence of the IT department, getting the IT governance, getting the, support from the audit committee stakeholders, getting the support from the management, initial learning curve, all these things will be big challenges what you have. I will request Jairam, if we can run the poll. We have 2 questions and we are looking for the input. And these challenges, whatever we debated, would have helped you to think through that, the poll questions. So is it okay? So the first poll question, I will describe this. How many had difficulty? This is those who have already implemented. Okay. And those who are going to implement is visualize the difficulty to establish a direct connection of the idea to the data tables. The options are 2. No difficulty. We don't need a direct connection to the production servers. We are connected to a data warehouse or a similar infrastructure, and it is in line with the acceptable information technology governance framework within the company or the group. Second option is that we face stiff resistance from the information technology department and data owners. That is stiff resistance to access the data directly. So I will request the poll can be open, and request everyone to participate. So these are the collective wisdom, and all these things will help us, jointly to, work in a direction where what are your interests, and the questions can always be addressed on that. Poll is open now. Jairam?
Yes, Mukundan sir, the poll is open.
Okay. Request everyone to vote, please. You are able to see the number of
yes, I am.
There are. So this is anonymous, so don't worry. Thank you very much for raising this question, because it also ensure that the other our participants also will get the right response. So thank you very much for asking this question. It always add value. Thank you, Satish. So if polling is done, I don't know whether you are able to monitor the poll progress. If it is done, then we can go to the next, or you would like to announce these results?
Yeah,
and then go
I can do that, Mr. Mukundan. It's about 55% done.
May I request everyone to do it? I hope so. Time is over. There is a message that I can't see the polls.
No, the poll is still on. I haven't ended it yet.
So you may have to give a guidance to someone, how to look at the polls, if the screen is.
Well, the screen comes up on everyone's console. They just need to choose the option of their choice and submit the poll. So, Mr. Mukundan, we are at 60% voted. If you suggest, I can end the poll and give you the statistics.
Yeah, definitely. Let everybody see the results.
So almost 61% of those voted have voted for 2. That is, we face stiff resistance from information technology department and data owners, and the others are for 1.
Okay, so whether we are able to see because I am also not able to see the poll results. Can you display it, or we are not able to do it?
I've just ended the poll. 1 minute. I'm just going to share the results.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah,
of course.
Excellent.
Of course. So I think, I agree with you because this is more or less in the expected lines. So in fact, in the previous companies, wherever I tried, I was also on the 64% side of it. fortunately this time on the 36% side of it. So again, we will talk about that more about later, how this can be done. Okay, go to the next poll question, please.
Sure, Mr. Mukundan. To launch the second poll. Yeah. Just one. Yes, Mr. Mukundan. Second poll online.
Yeah. So second poll, and this is only the last question. For IDEA implementation within the internal audit department, we have two possible options. Which one is the preferred option? We have proposed, special team members, that is one or two people depending upon the need of you, who will primarily do only IDEA related work. The second option is that we propose to train everyone in the team for IDEA, and they can take it forward as and when they require. So these are the two options available. Request everyone. I would like to see 100% of the people polling for this.
Mr. Mukundan, polling underway, it's crossed 50%.
Very good, very good. So encourage everyone to do it 100%, and after the poll, you have to submit the results.
We've crossed 70%. You just give them a few more seconds.
Yeah, very good. Very good. I think we can close the poll.
Yeah, I am ending the poll and declaring the results. Yeah, the results on the screen.
Yeah, so 33% option 1 and 67%, the option 2. So let me tell you that, it's interesting and in these lines. So in fact, we have gone initially with the 67% side. That is, we trained everyone for them. At the same time, then I felt that, yes, it is difficult, when you do IDEA analytics, everyone can have the same expertise level, though most of our team members are chartered accountants. Then we found that, some of them have come with an Excel background. Now, those who come extremely with excellent, skills in Excel, for them, it is very difficult to get into IDEA. So if you start with IDEA and then get into Excel, there is much more easy. These are some of the experience which I have. Then later, what we have done is, currently we have switched over to the 33 side of it. So some of our team members their job is only, doing the IDEA related work. So they are the specialists in this particular area. And I will also tell you the reasons, these things, once we get into the benefits of IDEA, at that time we will be talking about. So thank you, everyone. It's interesting results. So now let me talk about the other two slides where we talk about the benefits with the IDEA. So to get the best benefit out of this, you should go for a direct data connection, so that is where this. So as expected, we will have stiff resistance in this area. So if you don't touch the production servers, then there should not be a big problem. And some of the companies might not have invested, but even from IT governance point of view, it is necessary that there are multiple other, you need to have a mirroring servers, you need to have other, BI or the data warehouse, data lake, and multiple other things you will be definitely needing, because nowadays the IDEA is the basic analytics tool. When nowadays companies invest significant amount for on analytics investments, including data scientists and everything. Without having all these things, they will not be able to do it. So depending upon your audit objective, not necessary that we need to have a IDEA, direct connection to the production server. So if it is a data server, you will not have this issue. So second benefit is the handle on global data. Global data means, particularly in a scenario where I have, for me, an export happens from the example which I talked to you from Shanghai to Hamburg. The sailing time is approximately, let us take for our example, is 20 days. You see, the moment after 20 days, both countries will have the same data in different forms. One is an importing country, other one is an exporting country. So it will have definitely help me to come, ensure that these things are working in the right manner. And if there may be many aspects which may be, particularly in our trade, if something has not been done properly at an export location, there may be a problem at the import location. So just to give you an example, there is something called hazardous cargo. So hazardous cargo may be, it is not exactly the way in which many of you may think, because I was also thinking in similar way before I joined this company. Hazardous means it is something like an explosive. Not necessarily that, everything is in that point of view. So I will tell you the example. Table tennis, all of you must have played table tennis. The material which it is made, if it is a hazardous cargo under the IMO terms and conditions. So these are the global terminologies which are used. But if you have one table tennis ball, definitely it is not. But if I am one container full of table tennis balls, if I am exporting from one country to another country, so it is a hazardous cargo. So that is where, many of these definitions or these things, we may not do it. And for an origin country, if these things, that is an exporting country, if they are not done it correctly, and it can have an impact on the, the importing country. So when I relate these data, I'll be able to know, okay, where is the fault has happened. So this is just to give you, an example, and all these scenario will be different in your own respective areas, manufacturing or trading or service. So the third point which I would like to tell you is about the large number of records. So the ability is to handle the number of records. So in a day, I have got 2,400 pairs of trade lanes, and every day from every country, shipping bills are created. We call it a bill of ladings, and then it is cargo is moving. The number of shipments what is moving, it is very, very so as I am speaking to you, multiple countries, multiple ports, multiple containers, multiple shipping lines. In many number of shipping lines, it is floating on the sea. Your cargo from many of your things, it is are floating. So you can imagine that how it is. So you will get a proper handle of the data, large number of records when you have this sort of arrangement with you in this particular setup. These are the benefits of the idea. So I already talked about these things. So sampling is something which was popular in the past. Now with these things, and most of you are on the information technology side, we will be able to do 100% records rather than sampling, so long as you are able to. So trend analytics, not necessarily only between the same country. In our case, I can do this one country to another country, and one, location to another location within the same country, between the multiple period and so on. So all these things these are the benefits of the idea, which we are able to, utilize these things, these things. We will, yes. Now, the specific benefits which we are able to do this, which, initially I was only marketing these things to get the idea implementation, but today we have been able to demonstrate. So centralization. So we do this particular activities, by sitting in India, we do most of these activities. So one is that, in India is fertile of the skill set. So that is something a big advantage which we have. Many other countries, we don't have this sort of skill set available. And even if the skill set is available, it is, very expensive. And cost arbitrage as well, it is something very, you will know that, India is definitely, that is why many BPOs or any other successful. So for us, it is more like an internal BPO service or whatever we want to call it as. So centralized audit services, there is a lot of cost saving. I was talking to you about, the partnering with the business. So after an audit report, what we will tell them, that we teach them, what we did, how do we did it. And so many of the areas where the direct report is not available to them from the ERP system, we will tell them that, okay, this is an area. For example, I was talking to you a hazardous cargo. So hazardous cargo handling, it is from money point of view as well as handling point of view, from safety point of view. So we have, as a business partner, this role is not as an auditor. So we give them some of these reports on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, depending upon the type of things which is available. The idea is that, depending upon the control objectives, what we wanted to achieve, or what we wanted my auditee has to achieve it, we help them with these reports. And finally, there may be some false positives, false negatives. We work with them and improve these working on this. So this is more of a partnering job and not of these things. Specific report requirement. You see, in the normal course, what happens is that today, if there are multiple reports available in any ERP system, but depending upon the business scenario and process changes, the auditee may need a specific report which is not readily available in the system. And IT department will say that I can give you this report. This is the cost, and it will take so much. I have to talk to the vendor. I will develop this report and give it to you within 3 months' time, 4 months' time. by that time, the objective would have been defeated. So in such cases, today our auditee approaches us, can you help us? So anyway, we have the access to the data. So we are able to generate the report and give to them. And we tell them after 3 months or 4 months, you can get it as a direct report, from the ERP by the time you develop. But currently, if it is temporary thing, we are there. You don't have to spend money for this, So this is something which we help as an auditee, as a partner to the business. Easy to replicate. This is from audit objective, and as well as the partner with this one, we are able to do it. Though somewhere we have unique processes, we have to be careful about that. And we have many non-English speaking countries. I'm going a little bit fast so that we have enough time for the question answers, these things. So 1 or 2 more slides, and then we will wait for the question answers. We will address all the questions that we imagine. So we have many non-English speaking countries where, it may be Spanish, it may be Portuguese, or it may be many other local languages. So and all of them are able to send and the exchange correspondence in English, but they may not be able to speak to us. So what happens is that, so we first do with the English speaking countries, we give them the type of services, what we are doing, we send them in correspondence. So they are also able to write back to us in English. At the same time, not necessarily that they are able to speak a fluent English. So there is a problem. So there is a question, non-linguist, but linguist. So in general, we don't need to use it, but at the same time, at least in one country, and it was in Peru. This is part of the South America. So they organized a linguistic because they were finding very difficult to manage with us. So they had engaged, one. So this was my 10 years experience. This only happened in one case. Coaching the auditee, I already talked to you, how, because it is necessary when you are partnering with them, what all can be done. So when we are partnering with them and coaching with them, you get more and more insight from control objective side. In general, they are always hesitant to talk to you because they find you as as an auditor, which is, somebody who would like to keep it at a distance. At the same time, when it is their need, they are always to work with you, and indirectly you will also achieve your objectives of, audit objectives and control objectives, and from risk management side as well. So all these things will definitely give you increased visibility. So stakeholders are much more beyond the auditee. So it may be an audit committee member, it may be a management, so it may be, for example, in our case, we have a hierarchy of the country level. Then there is a regional level. Regional levels are always senior to the country setup. Then we have a corporate level. So corporate level and regional level will always want more and more information from the country because they themselves need a visibility. So they always work with you, and that way you will build confidence in it. And the consistency in quality of the output. So staff rotation or staff turnover, this is something very common for all of us. And so it is necessary that we train more and more people once you have the scripts ready. So it is much more easy. So same scripts can be run again and again. So of course, sometimes, it is not that all the staff will be, the turnover will happen at the same time. So once you build up these things, so it is an organizational resource, so that is something specifically for you. So that is something, and increased productivity is at the same cost. This is something which, I have already explained, the centralization, cost saving. The last point, when the audit team, when they do all these things, their knowledge is significantly go up, their market value significantly go up. Their confidence to meet the auditee will go up because they are already prepared with every data and they have studied very well. So the confidence level, the moment they meet the auditee, you will not find any difficulty for even the people, even at the initial stage, they can pick up very fast and they can train themselves. Okay, these things are readily available, and these things are when you are going to do the auditee, you do the analytics first, go with your base papers, understand and discuss with them what are their expectations and everything, and then afterwards you show the data, and then definitely the confidence level of auditee, so the maturity of the audit team, so that is something which I have significantly seen, that because I was heading the audit department in multiple other companies as well. But with these things, there is increased maturity. We can go to the next slide, Jairam. So this is more of the return on investment today when we are talking about so this is not in value terms, this is in quality terms. If my country managers, my regional CEOs, or the corporate people, they are asking me, can you generate this report for me? So that is a return on investment, which I believe that when I am talking as a partnering to the business, this is something which I do. And this is where it is not in money terms. Money terms, we can always put in multiple numbers, but this is what gives much more satisfaction when, they are our advocates. Okay, we would like you to do this particular activity. So when you have got this sort of advocacy happening, you will not find any difficulty for getting access to your the data warehouse or these things. So resistance can be built in. Of course, initially you need to have some breakthrough. You have to start in some in a way that you are able to make an impression. These things, some advocacy is required for this particular, and this can always be done. Sama can help, or our colleagues, like those who are successful in implementation like this. It may be me, there may be many more people. We can always have with your management, whoever has that concern. You can have, rather, we are all ready to help our colleagues in this particular area. Many of my other colleagues have already taken this sort of help. So I never hesitate to help my colleagues in this. So I already explained to you how this as an idea has moved forward from audit tool to a management tool, where we are partnering with them. They are asking for our report. So these are qualitative return on investment, which when I am talking to you, which will have much more prominence from the auditees. As an auditee relationship building, this is what something which which will be very helpful. The last slide before the Q&A is that what is the way forward for us at this moment in time. We have not implemented Caseware. At some point in time, we have to implement this, so that further, at this moment in time, we are managing IDEA with the specialists, but at some point in time, Caseware, where more automation can happen, scripts can come automatically, but it definitely needs much more maturity. We have not reached that level, and it definitely calls for the investment. So at some point in time, I wish that we will go for Caseware implementation as well. With this, we will open up for questions and answers, I believe.
Sure. Sure, Mukundan, thank you very much. I think before we get into the question and answer, I'll moderate the question and answer session. I would just like to add to all the participants that we, or maybe I, understand a little bit of Mukundanji's industry. So he has put it so simply today, simple thoughts, very simple thoughts on the slide, but it's a very complex industry. Why complex? Because it is multi-geography, multicultural. Regulations are different from country to country. The tariff regulations, the way you handle cargo, you buy and sell cargo, it's different for different countries, different regions. Culture is different. So it becomes very difficult, and you have data flowing across the world. It is like a huge bank or an insurance company, it's data intensive. One should know, as I think Mukundanji rightly said, what is the schema, total schema? What do you want? What do you want out of the data? That is very important. What is the objective for the auditor? What is in it for the stakeholders, various stakeholders? And what do you want to achieve out of that? Because there's so much of data, you can just go on analyzing it for your lifetime. So I think that is why Mukundanji talked about initially the schema, getting your pictures right, getting your processes right, understanding what to do, what do you want out of it, who should run it, and what do you want to give back to the stakeholders. So I think that is how the journey has been for All Cargo Global Limited under the leadership of Mukundanji and his team members, So they have really implemented it very well for an Indian multinational. Now, the first question of, I think I'll pick up Satish's question, Mukundanji, who says, who are your key stakeholders for the auditing activities in your company?
Thank you, Satish. These questions, this is something very, very important. At this particular moment in time, my key stakeholders are, immediate management. The chairman of the company, he's an Indian first generation entrepreneur. He wants most of the things, and he's a hands-on person. So he's one of the most, he wants these. At his initial days, it was his thought process that we need to have an in-house department, and we need to have increased level of automation. So he's one of the stakeholder, but definitely once there is a buy-in from the topmost person in the company, all others automatically become the stakeholders in the company. So, so it ensures that, the top management of it may be a CEO, it is all other people are our stakeholders. Audit committee, they get a lot of comfort that, okay, it is not the sampling what we are doing in this area. We have been able to do 100% coverage. So that is something which, they're these things. So for me, stakeholders are right from my auditee, who may be an executive level person, till the top management. All of them are my, stakeholders. So somewhere, at some occasions, probably an auditee may be disappointed because he doesn't want an observation is coming in his area. He may have a disappointment. At the same time, there are within the same auditee, another, his manager or somebody will be more than happy. Okay, I am giving a daily report or a monthly report, helping him to manage the business. So that way he's partnering. I am partnering with him. So in general, for me today, everybody is a stakeholder within the company, and outside the company, it is more of the audit committee, and because regulators or that sort of people, for me, they are not my stakeholders at this point from the idea point of view.
Great.
We can go to the next question, I suppose.
Yeah, sure. I think before I go to the next question, there's a comment in the box which says, "Lovely presentation. You have made a complex ecosystem sound so simple." So whatever I explained has been summed up by one of the participants in just one sentence. And now I go to the next question. What in your experience is the norm? The entire audit team mastering idea or working with a hybrid team? What works better in your opinion? I think you spoke about it in your presentation. You've already spoken about it. Do you want to just expand on that, Mukundanji?
Yeah.
Again.
Thank you, Preeti, again asking for this question. Again, an interesting question, because once you ask this sort of question, it answers for many other people as well. I have tried both, and the second one is more successful from my point of view. So when we started, we had all the people, we had the born for the idea training. However, I felt that, yes, it is not giving adequate value. Then we went for the, specialist model. So today, out of about 20 plus hardcore auditors, I can tell you that 2 people are, idea specialists in my company. I hope this answers it.
Sure. There's a question by Sandeep Kunte on, while partnering with the management teams, how do you ensure the independence aspect as required by the IA standards? Would it be a better proposal to train the management team to generate their own reports by using idea software?
So again, Mr. Kunde, there is a very interesting question. This is a question which every one of us will be interested. The way in which I look at is that, the independence is something which should be there in our mind, and I will also say that it is, there was in last one of the presentation or the speech, I made an observation. This is a motto of Los Angeles police, and this is there is many other police who have already adopted that, to protect and to serve. This is it is in early 1960s or even prior to that, this was the motto. So I definitely believe in the same way, to protect and to serve. So to protect your independence is your job, and it is more of a mindset. How do you, the mindset, how do you ensure that your independence than what is demonstrated on the paper? So when I do all these particular activities, my independence is definitely, I can say that, that's the way in which even today, my audit committee, my stakeholders, they look at it. My independence is never compromised when I am doing this, any of this. So the way in which I look at, to give another example, if I am doing a risk management function, apart from the audit function which I do it, can I do that audit? No, I should never do that audit. I should call somebody like Deepji or anyone else for that particular do this. Okay, I want another auditor or any one of the participants, who are my good colleagues, and they should definitely do the audit. But if I am serving them as a partnering of an activity, a consulting activity, if I do this, and I also do an independent activity for this, as an audit, it is not compromising any of these things. At least I have not felt the pain of this one. And at the same time, some of my auditees are currently thinking that we would like to, this is a recent development, I should tell you. Some of them, they now wanted that, okay, we would like to have, because I don't want the auditor to tell me. There are definitely some ego clashes do happen, because we are a big company, global setup. Definitely these things are expected. And I have definitely encouraged them, please feel free to do so that I can reduce that much activity. I can more focus on the only audit related activities. So this is depending upon your environment, you can do it. So this question has come to me after 10 years within my setup, and I have encouraged them, okay, you are free to do so. I
Okay.
hope it answers.
Sure. There's a question by Mr. Narayanan on job rotation. How do you trade off between achieving generalized skills and specialist skill for each staff? For example, given the objective of sending the staff to some other role, wouldn't his or her technical skills be disrupted?
So in fact, the job rotation, we never have this problem at this point. And let me tell you the structure what we have. We have multiple products, we have multiple countries. Okay. Within India itself, we deal with 10 to 15, not 10 to 15, at least I can broadly categorize it to 4 to 5 different products. So CFS is one of my product, equipment division is, there is equipment rental is one of my product, over-dimensional cargo movement is another product, NVOCC is multiple product, warehouse is a product, and so on. So all these things are handled by my team. So we ensure that in the moment we recruit a person, over a period of time, he is rotated in each and every audit. We don't want a person to do every year the same type of audit, so otherwise, rather in a particular auditor, because the audits what we do is very detailed and very elaborate. So it takes about 2 to 3 months for a particular person to do. So he may do a 4 or 5 audits in a particular month, a particular year. But they are very detailed and very yearly one sort of audit. In many of the countries, we do once in 3 to 4 years, depending upon the risk perception. So, but whenever we do, it takes longer time, and there is a team of definitely 2 people. So we ensure that this person who has done this particular activity, we do this, though he is not given that task. It may be a different country or different product. And we also have good audit tools available other than this idea. So we have got, we use tools for the audit administration. We use software for, for the purpose of risk management. We use software for the purpose of analytics, which is IDEA. And we also use, automation for the IFC. So fairly, all these things, because of the automation, all these things are in the company, and any person who is coming to the system, everything is open to that particular person. How much he eats out of that, we don't do any spoon feeding, but that with a greater level of increased level of automation, all these things are open to him. So that is what is ensuring that the job rotation is, there is no trade-off. Over a period of 3 to 4 years, they become a skilled person. They cover all these areas. I hope I have answered the question.
Thank you. Another question is, in terms of cost, is the system justifying the investments done both one time and the recurring cost? If yes, what is the time frame for the same?
So this is again, Deepji and Jairam, both of them, they have an interest in this question. I know. At the same time, I let me tell an open secret with you. That is that one of the analytics software, if you compare the costs, what they sell it at this, because these are the global prices, and the value what you get. So today you look at the cost of a person doing the audit, it has significantly gone up. You see, when I started my first salary in 1986, okay, in the beginning of 1986, was including I was getting a monthly home take pay of 2,000 rupees. Okay. And today, all of us know that if you want to hire a reasonably good chartered accountants, what is the cost of that particular person? So in proportion to that cost, because how much time you take for doing a particular audit, if you have an idea, the same coverage, these things, what you need, you may need a significant number of people, and people cost has significantly gone up, whereas automation cost is significantly low today, particularly an idea, the software and everything. So I hope this is not planted by, Deepji, my good friend.
Okay, so now I think let's go to the other question, and this is from Mr. G. Rajkumar from Dakshar, India. So I think he's from Dakshar. So is the exceptional reports outcome resolved by the auditee on timely basis?
Yeah. So
what is your experience?
So I have got both experience. These exception reports. Some of them are very good at. Some of them, they get back to us immediately. But definitely there will be some pockets in the country, in some part of the world, where they don't respond on time, and they don't. You have to send reminders and these things. So what we have done in such cases is that we ask them that, okay, do you want this report or not? Instead of we proposing this report, if they don't want this report, then we don't generate to them for them. So it is for them whether they want it or not. So that's the way in which we address these things. If there is no buy-in from them, we refuse to generate the report and give it to them.
Okay. I think there's just a comment on the job rotation earlier, which you explained. So you did not speak about it, but I think what Mr. Narayanan says is that the understanding is it is more of a task rotation than a role rotation. Absolutely right.
Absolutely
and
right.
How many audits do you conduct in a year?
So, the number may not be a very, this one, I can just tell you that on an auditor level, we may be doing about 3 audits or 4 audits in a year. So about 20 auditors, you can say that around 70 to 80 audits. But audit is not the only activity what we do is, for an acquisition, when a due diligence happens, so that is something which we again do it. There may be many fraud investigations also happen. These are not part of the audit plans, what comes out. Sometimes there is a consultancy assignments comes from the top management. That's also there. So that's all over and above these things. So I can say that about 60 to 70 audits, but these 70 audits are very detailed audits. It takes significant time. Two people must be doing about 2 months on an average. And then there is a quality checks. Then there is a supervisory check by me, because without my, each and every report is seen by me, then only it is issued. So this is the way in which our system. So it comes to me, first a supervisor checks that, the quality verification happens, but each and every report is seen by me, vetted by me, discussed by me, then only we issue it.
Okay. There's just one question on, how your software should be cloud-based storage, and you tried installing, but there are a lot of Windows errors, and Canada could not find the answer, and Jairam Bhai also contacted but could not find. So, okay. So I'll just answer that quickly. Since it's a technical question, IDEA is a desktop-based software because it's a workhorse. It's a highly intensive software. So you can do small things with it, but it is designed for you to do very intensive data analytics. Though it is a very simple tool, it can do intensive data analytics. So it is a workhorse. So it sits on your desktop, but to collaborate and to share with different audit teams within your area, if you permit them to share information, it can be, the results can be published on a cloud, which can be shared by different auditors so that they can work on the output which is published on the cloud. So I think that's the first part. The second part is there is a separate cloud-based artificial intelligence software which has just been released this year by Caseware, which is called Analytics AI, which is artificial intelligence. And what it does is it usually helps CA firms right now, or maybe even it'll help industry, but that is only once in a while, where you can upload your general ledger, you can upload your ledgers, and it will give you deviations, automatically give you deviations based on all the AI tests which are built in. You can author your own tests slowly over it as you learn how to author it. So that's a new development which has happened, but that is different from IDEA. So IDEA is basically a workhorse which sits on your desktop, and it is not cloud-based. Only you can publish results on the cloud and share information with your team members. Now, there's one more. AI may replace accountants for many routine tasks in future. Then how data analytics still would be relevant? It will still be relevant because you need to do different things at different points in time. Everything cannot be replace accountants fully. And again, AI will not replace accountants. There are a number of articles on the net, number of articles available where you can read up and say AI will only aid the accountant to get better. They will drive the accountants to become more agile, analytical, and help the management for decision making. It is not going to replace it's going to replace the routine stuff which is there. Now, there's a question on, are any ready templates for banking industry in India as to compliance and query part relating to RBI which can be focused and improved? There are no ready templates which are available, but they can be built, and a lot of banking clients are using it. So I'll leave that with that. And average cost. So we'll not talk about costing here. this is not a forum to discuss the cost. So separately, if somebody writes to Jairam, he can address that. So I think, Mukundanji, these are all the questions. I hope I have covered everything. And there's any demo versions. Okay, I'll not answer that. Can you please inform about the cost and installation process of IDEA? So Dhairya Doshi, I think all that can be taken care separately. We'll discuss only knowledge-based things here. Mukundanji, I think it was, thank you very much. I think we are right on dot 8 o'clock, 2 past 8. But thank you very much, because I have worked in your industry, or I can say I've worked in your company. So I know the complexity which you face. Now, you have made the presentation sound very simple, though it's such a complex ecosystem, and only a person, I'm putting it across from the bottom of my heart, that not only for today's session, but only a person of your knowledge, competence, and stature would be in a position to deal with such a lot of complexity, with such a lot of demanding stakeholders from across the world that you deal with, and also put together an internal audit team to deliver so much for the organization. Because not only you do internal audits, analytics, but you also handle due diligence, fraud analytics, forensics, consulting assignments, legal side of it, lot of things. You have not spoken about a lot of things which you handle. So it's like it's such a vast array of things that are being handled, and very nicely, very simply. So very big thank you to you, Mukundanji, for being with us today and sharing with us in such a
I would
simple
like
terms.
to thank all the participants. Their questions made the session more lively.
Absolutely.
And that is where, I have learned a lot of things. Okay, these are the questions and these are the challenges. So I would definitely like to thank the participants. Each one of your questions were very, very, it is insightful, and that has made all the participants and me in person. Okay, these are the things which we have to visualize more. And that will definitely help that, these my knowledge, as well as, because finally it is a collective wisdom, and that is what today we have demonstrated in today's presentation. And thank you very much, Deepji, Jairam, because you are all our good friends. You have given an opportunity to talk about these things, but definitely I enjoyed thoroughly this company of each one of you, the participants, and as well as, some audit. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Mukundanji. And there are a number of questions which have not been answered. So separately, we'll write to participants. And I would say that any participant has any further query you want to be addressed by Mukundanji or by us, you can write into us, and we'll see that we reply back to you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.